All right. Hello, hello. Can you guys hear me? Thumbs up. All right, awesome. So I'm doing the huddle from my house today. Can come in. We're actually going to look at, we have to move soon. So we're going to look at a bunch of places, and all of our appointments are on this side or in town. So I'm just going to do the huddle from my home today. So here we go. All right. So my huddle today is about the Darren Daily from yesterday. So the whole entire thing is the details to big success. So he tells a story about a was it like a shoe? I don't know. Let's say a department store that's selling ladies' shoes, and the guy made a goal, like the manager made a goal to double his sales the next month. And so every single salesperson on the team did their they just were like focusing on the sale, and they only wanted the sale, and their sales actually decreased. Like they decreased. I can't remember the exact number. There was like 8%. But then so he took like an intrinsic look at himself. Was like, what is going on? What is it? So he realized, he was focusing too much on these giant details, and really what mattered most was looking at the small things. So the next month he told his salespeople to focus on the little things, like focus on just helping out the next client, walking them to the door, handing them a bag with a smile on their face, things like that. And they increased their sales 50%. They didn't hit their double, but they increased it by 50%, which leads, Mitch brings it back to what we always talk about. It's the details. It's all about the details and the small things we do on a daily basis that create the big thing. So, in order to recreate the big picture, we must learn to focus on the small particulars. Let's see. I'm going to pick on somebody about this. Shelby, what does that mean to you? Yeah, I can't hear you either. All right, I'll go to the next person. Bradley. In order to recreate the big picture, we must learn to focus on the small particulars. What? I can't see it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So, I mean, it's just like the domino effect that we talked about in the one thing. The big dominoes would be the big picture, but it all starts with the start and the small little things to get to the big picture. And so that's what it means to me, that in order for you to reach the big, you got to be able to. If you can't wash the dishes, then you can't run a company, pretty much. You can learn how to do the small things that are not even exciting at times, that impacts the big picture, I would say.
Exactly. Yep. It's the little things that create the big picture, and then also in that, Danny Daly, he talks about an art teacher taking a school of students to like this big, just like out in a field. And he's like, if he were to just to tell them to draw the whole picture of it without having them focus on the little tiny blades of grass, they'll never be able to draw the entire picture, because the entire picture is created line by line. It's the small little things every single day that they create the big picture. And a lot of us get so wrapped up in the big picture and in our future that we forget the little things that we have to do on a daily basis, and it's like it's human nature. We just, if we're not focused, what is it? If like what you focus on expands. So grand vision. So I think that this is a really huge topic. I actually read this thing yesterday of how yesterday, the day before, about how to cut out the small talk. Our society is so like ingrained in like, how's the weather today? Oh, like little things like that, like that's just what we do, like these little tiny details. But like if we ask these larger questions, like what's your vision for the future? Like what are you working for? We can actually, that's like a small tiny question, a 5-word question can literally open up an entire world for somebody. You can literally learn so much about somebody from one small question. And I think that's a big thing that we talk about. It's great salespeople ask great questions. So
one thing I do, Jake, is after you build enough rapport and then you guys are, you're connecting and discovering, I throw in, why are you doing this, Jake? Why are you doing this? Why are you buying a home? Why are you buying a second home? Whatever it is. And just asking them that simple question, I mean, it's very huge. It's the whole reason why they're doing it. So.
Yeah, and I love that. I remember we were doing role play last week, and Brad even mentioned that. And I know I've heard it before, but when he said it, it just clicked. It's like, it's the why. We just have to ask the why, because no matter what they say afterward, or whatever they're trying to focus on, or whatever starts to scare them, or any objection they try to say, you just bring them back to that very, very large why. And
to follow up with that, I said, how would it feel to make this dream a reality for your family, Jake? And just bringing that emotion, and then going back into the game of LP Mama, right? But it's very important. You can ask him, like, just straight up, what's motivating you to do this, and what's your why?
Mm-hmm.
And they appreciate that. It's another deeper level of connection.
Yeah, exactly. Asking the deep questions, because that's how you create a great relationship. So this question is more of like a general for everybody. Like, I think it's a necessary thing for us to ask ourselves on a daily basis, though. Like, what is our grand vision? I know for damn sure our grand vision every single day isn't just to wake up every single day just to make phone calls. That's one of the small details, though. That's one of the small details that creates our grand vision. Can't see that. Hold on. All right, so then what are the small actions necessary to make your vision a reality? I kind of touched on that a little bit with, the day, like just making those contacts. Other than that, Veronica, what are some small actions necessary to make your vision a reality?
Hey, sorry, I'm at school dropping off my kids. Sorry.
Never mind. All right, then I will go to Adrian.
I can hop on.
Adrian, what are the small actions necessary to make your dream a reality?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I would say that just it's those little things, those little details, like the welcome sign, for example. Making sure that your client has a welcome sign, that their name spelled correctly, that you pointed out. Think about it. Like, when was the last time that you had a welcome sign made for you? So just those little details, those little things that we do as a team to differentiate ourselves and to make that client experience fantastic and something that's super memorable. I would say, you just think about it. Just think about these little things that you can do to show that you care and to stand out. So I would say, you just talk about one thing, just the welcome sign. It's very simple. Yeah, it does so much.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Adrian. And so, for me, I know, the last two closings that I had, I got them. I've showed you guys them. Literally, it's a $20 cutting board, and it costs $15 to get it engraved with their names on it, with the Team Lolly and my phone number on the bottom right corner. It's super great, and because I love cutting boards, so it's an awesome thing. People really appreciate it. It was literally $35, nothing. It's the smallest little thing, but seriously, I have got nothing but oh my God, thank you so much. The biggest, so much emotion from it, because it's just a little thing, I really like that, Adrian. What differentiates us? The small things. And then here's a really big one too. What are the actions you're missing out because you're too focused on the big picture? What are the things that you're not paying attention to because you have this grandiose plan going on? You have all these wants and all these needs, but what are the small things that we're missing out on? Because we all miss the boat. We all miss the target sometimes, and it's human nature. Attilio's email this morning, it's human nature to make mistakes. But that's what is it, to be human is to err, or something like that. There's some quote like that, but it's so big. So this is another self-reflecting question. I'm not going to put anybody on blast or something like this, but really think about this question. What am I missing out on a daily basis that I'm not doing because I'm too focused on tomorrow or next year? It's those little things, daily habits. And I think that's the biggest thing from this entire Daring Daily is it's the habits that we make us. The habits that we keep and create are what make us. And here's another one. I like this one too. What are the small opportunities you're going to look for and act upon in order to create your big picture? Knowing now, because now we have a RAS activated, for those who don't know RAS, it's a reticulating activating system or something like that. I don't know the exact words, but it's basically once you think about wanting to buy a certain car, say you want to start buying a Lincoln, all you see is that Lincoln everywhere all of a sudden because your RAS is activated. So now that our RAS is activated on these small opportunities that we have to look for on a daily basis, what are you going to look for daily? Mitzi, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, no, sure. So since I started doing real estate, now I keep on hearing people talk about real estate, right? And those are the small opportunities that when you do, that our RAS has been activated. But the question is, are we doing something about it? And we hear that all the time. People talk about real estate because now we are in the business, right? But are we doing something about it? Are we actually becoming comfortable of being uncomfortable, approaching those people? And what I learned also yesterday was that I was listening to Gary Vee's podcast, and he said, you know what? Just ask 10% discount from every time you buy coffee. Ask 10% discount. It's not about the conversion rate, but it's about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. And on top of that, he said, I've been doing that for 2 years just to be, no, actually Tim Ferriss said that he's been doing that for 2 years just to, get the negotiation skills, just to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And also his conversion rate is actually pretty good, 70%. So you get 70% off the coffee, even at Starbucks. He has a discount. So yes, there is
Mitzi.
Yes.
Mitzi, what if asking for a 10% discount is a part of your nature, like me? Because since I'm from Russia, we bargain on everything that we buy.
then there you are. You are a naturally skilled negotiator.
Well, what's important is also the deliverance of the way that you ask and the kindness that the way you do it.
And I think
and that's what I have naturally growing up. I mean, I've been selling baseball cards since I was 4th grade too, so I know what's up.
I think a really big thing of what all of you guys have mentioned too, just getting out there and saying something, and then taking the next step, something, getting out of our comfort zone a little bit, taking that little step, and then so we ask that question, and then what though, and then how do we go deeper, because that's the biggest thing. It's easy just to say hi to somebody. It's easy to ask, like, real quick, can I get a 10% discount? It's easy to negotiate if it's ingrained within us. It's easy to sell if it's ingrained within us. What is it to take that next step to exactly what Adrian said, set us apart, to go deeper, to ask those real questions, to really get to know somebody? Like yesterday, I just bought another surfboard just because I wanted a better one. Super cheap surfboard, like $100. But I was at I met this lady to buy it, and she mentioned she wanted to move. So immediately, RAS activated, awesome, let's talk about real estate, right? So I started asking, and then, she was like, we were engaging really well. And then she said that, I asked her what her phone number was so I could just send her my app. And she's like, well, just send it to me through Facebook. So I was like, trying to go along with it because that's how we've been contacting each other. I was like, okay. And then I tried to do it, and then my internet wasn't working. So then I just was like, oh, I'll just do it later. Instead of taking the next step and being like, and just being like, hey, feeling uncomfortable. Can I just have your phone number? Just send this to you really quick, instead of trying to stick in. Yeah. And
when you say you're sending your app, you're talking about the Boomtown app, right?
I send my Keller Williams app. How do you send?
Let's not do that, because now you're creating 2 databases and 2 systems. So let's just make this official here. Nobody should be sending the Keller Williams app. You guys
I'm guilty of that too.
Boomtown.
Yeah.
You stop doing that. You're creating additional work, and just let's keep it with Boomtown until we moved over to Command completely.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, heard that. All right. So anyway, understood.
Hey, Adrian, I have a question. Is there a future possibility of our Team Lally become an app?
There is a way to share your Best Hawaii real estate search, like you just add them to the search. Laura, could you maybe we can check in with Boomtown to see how do we recreate, like, sharing the KW app, right? Like, how do we, do the same kind of concept, right? With getting them on a search on Boomtown, the same way that we would do with KW. Thank you.
All right, we're almost out of time. Well, we are out of time, so I'm just gonna go through this really quick. So, and then a really quote that I really love that he said, a quote that he said that I really loved was, "The smaller seed sown meaningfully reap a bigger harvest." And it's intentional. It's like, be intentional with our words, be intentional with our actions on a daily basis. And then the difference is in the details. Like we're all talking about, it's the tiny things that set us apart. It's the details. So can't harp on that enough. I know, yeah, it's just details are everything. A couple of ahas. We're going over time. Art, aha. Aha me, bro. Where's he at? Where'd Art go? All right, JT, let me get some.
Aha. I like the art is in the details there, because everything builds up. So if you pile little rocks up, everything it'll do, and you're going to snag something. It's going to fall down.
Agreed. Anybody else?
I'll share.
Okay.
Fix volume.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So I would say when you're going back on how you apply those little details and what you're noticing now, that Raz, one of my friends now just joining, they've been asking more questions. So like last week, I got into a deeper conversation with one of them and then immediately referred them to PAC-REM. So they can just kind of get a gauge and get a better idea of what they need to do to set themselves up. So just using the knowledge that we're learning here to try to apply it to our personal life and our SOIs.
Exactly. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's the entire thing is relationships. We're like, yes, we sell real estate, but every single person, it's the 3 basic necessities. Everybody needs somewhere to live. So if everybody loves talking about real estate, so why not have the conversation? We don't have to try to sell to them. We're literally just talking about our lives. We're passionate about our lives, and if they want to buy a house, and hopefully they buy it from us, and it's our job to do those little details so they do buy from us, So, alrighty, that's all I got. We're over time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Great job, Jake.
Thank you, Jake. Good job.
Have a good day.